laws. Here to discuss what must be done immediately to protect the most vulnerable is Victoria's Shadow Education Minister, Jess Wilson. Well, I have to say I wish I was talking to you about lighter topics.
Me too, Peter.
I think people across the country are shocked. I think Victorians are asking themselves, if laws must be changed, Jess, why isn't the Parliament sitting today?
It's a great question, Peter, and what we know is that we can change it now. We know what needs to be changed. We saw the case on the weekend of Ron Marks, who was convicted and pled guilty for possession of child abuse material. Now, he had a valid working with children's check and visited a childcare centre after the police started their investigation, after they raided his home and found that material. The system is clearly broken. You look at what happened last week in Point Cook and at centres right across Melbourne's west. The devastating news for those families. My heart breaks for those families, those 1,200 kids that are now going testing for a sexually transmitted disease. We know what needs to be done now, and the Premier needs to recall Parliament so we can fix it and children are safe in childcare.
So what is failing Victorians? Is it just the checking system for those who work in childcare centres?
No, the working with children's check is part of it, that's for sure. We need to make sure that that looks backwards and make sure that we're picking up any red flags and we're looking at if there have been issues in the past. And in 2022, the Victorian Ombudsman said the current system isn't fit for purpose. It only picks up certain things, charges and convictions. And what we see on the weekend is that loophole, that flaw, that an investigation was underway when it comes to child sexual abuse material. So we need to expand that, and that's what the Ombudsman recommended in 2022, and yet the Allen Labor government failed to actually take on that reform and put it through the Parliament. So we actually need to recall the Parliament now to do that.
I wrote on the weekend, given your leader, Brad Batten's experience as a police officer, why wouldn't the Premier pull the opposition into her office and say, OK, we'll work together and fix this? We can't tolerate anything else. What can we do quickly together as the two major parties in this state to protect children? Why hasn't that happened?
And this should transcend politics. This shouldn't be about politics. It's bigger than that. It's more important than that. This is about the safety of our children. And Brad and I, we wrote to the Premier and the Minister for Children on early last week to say we want to work together. We will stand ready to do anything we need to do to pass through the Parliament, bring us into this review, make sure we are part of it so we can pass anything quickly. But there are things we can do now. We don't need to wait for a review. We've had review after review.
Yeah, well, just on that, I mean, the review is a tactic used by this Labor government. Daniel Andrews pioneered it. She has followed up with it. It means that whenever the media now pursues her at a press conference and asks about this issue, what are you doing? You know, when's the Parliament going to sit? She says, I can't discuss this. It's all now before a review. That's the problem with a review.
Well, it's fine to have the review. We're happy for that process to play out, and if recommendations come out of that, we will support those. But we know what we can do now.
And just on that, you've got a petition. How can my viewers tonight support you to get the Parliament back there this week?
So we've already had thousands of Victorian families sign this petition, www.childsafetymatters.com.au. Jump online and tell the Premier you want to see the Parliament recalled. You want to put child safety first. You want to put it before politics. Let's fix the safety system now. We'll let the review play out. We'll implement those recommendations as they come to the fore. But right now, let's do what we can. Let's recall the Parliament and put child safety first.
All right, I have to talk to you tonight about what's happened in Victoria over the weekend, Melbourne in particular. Another synagogue was firebombed on Friday night. There has been then other incidents, including involving restaurants over the weekend. And then there have been very insensitive protests by pro-Palestinian groups yesterday and very sadly today at the front of that synagogue. This can't be tolerated in Victoria.
It can't be tolerated in Victoria, but I think the time for words has passed. I think we actually need to see action now. We hear the phrase anti-Semitism has no place in Australia or Victoria all too often. It's true. But let's actually do something about it. I visited the East Melbourne Synagogue after the attempted firebombing on Saturday morning, and I could see the pain and suffering of our Jewish community. It's enough. It's enough. And now we've got the Premier pulling together another task force. That goes
to my point, Jess, though, that this is all a smoke screen for action.
This is a government that is more interested in managing the fallout of issues than actually dealing with it and putting in place the changes or the reforms that will ensure it doesn't happen again. And for all too long, we've heard from Jacinta Allen, we've heard from Ben Carroll and the leadership of the Labor Party that this is awful, it shouldn't occur, these people should be brought to justice. Well, do something about it. We have put forward time and time again move on laws in this state, giving Victoria Police the power to actually step in before these protests become violent, before what happens at the restaurant on Friday night. We need those powers to be given to Victoria Police. Victoria Police have been asking for those powers, but unfortunately the Allen Labor government once again is refusing to do what actually needs to be done to keep Victorians safe.
Well, if you get the Parliament back this week, they can be on the table as well.
Both things can be done.
Jess Wilson, thank you.
Thanks, Peter.